All right. Hello. Welcome to our week 2 check-in meeting for our YCA program. It is a brand new week, brand new day. And here we go. Let's get right into it. So a couple of reminders. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's not mandatory for people to come to the meetings. They are recorded for a reason, so people can follow along on their own time. However, we do really encourage it. One of the things that we'll be doing in this meeting is to be checking in together as a group and seeing how things are going and seeing what we can do to help each other out. So this is actually a good point for Maisha to hear, because in her YCA report last week, they mentioned that we should create a forum or a group chat in order to see what other folks are doing and then maybe exchange ideas. I think that's a great idea. And I'll be thinking of creating one of those for us. I still haven't figured out what format I want it to be in. But this is also that kind of forum. Okay. The idea of the check-in meetings is for us to all come together and see the week's progress and then share thoughts on how we can do things better and brainstorm together. So having all that said, let's jump right into today. Since we only have a few of us, this should be a fairly quick meeting. And I will just share my screen here. All right, pull this up. A quick presentation today. So what we're going to be going through today is our agenda. No, here's the agenda. What we're going to be going through today is we're going to be doing a quick community check-in. Then we're going to be talking about tomorrow's webinar, which is onboarding and assisting local merchants. We're going to be talking about next week's assignments, and then we're going to do just a quick little closing dynamic. All right. So there it goes. Community check-in. All right, what we're gonna do right now is only a few of you sent me your YCA reports. I only got about 4 of them. It's the first week, that's all right. I'm gonna continue to encourage folks to send the YCA report, because if you send me the report, that means I can give everyone a metrics report and see how our communities are doing. And it would be really helpful and really cool to see our numbers go up, see our numbers progress, and then, you know, again, share ideas on what's working, what's not, and what we can do together. So what I'll have you do for this week is individually check in and then summarize your YCA report for me. Okay. So I'm gonna have you summarize your YCA report. Just go column by column. So everybody take a second to pull up your report if you haven't already done so. Okay. I'm gonna have you share that with the group. And then we're gonna take a look at, so first the YCA report, right? Like I said, everybody take a second. And then we're gonna take a look at last week's assignments and see where everybody's at in last week's assignments, were you able to complete them? And then we'll have a little bit of a discussion about that. Okay, so with that said, who wants to go first? And okay, awesome.
All right, so sharing the screen.
Here, I will stop sharing. You should be able to. There you go.
Yeah, can you see it okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I'm working with El Cerrito, which is like 30 minutes away from me. And they're pretty much just getting started. And right now they actually haven't put any money or time towards reaching out to consumers to advertise and broadcast the card. They've pretty much just been doing merchant onboarding. So the organizer, Georgina, has been reaching out to merchants and trying to get them on. So she has about 9 right now, 9 merchants. And this month she's shifting towards consumer outreach. And that's what I'm going to be helping her with, specifically the social media. which she wants to put an emphasis towards because it's cheaper. They don't have a lot of funding because it's a pretty small chamber of commerce she works for, I think. Yes, that's the overarching goal for June. So as you can see, there were no new merchants last week. And then in terms of potential sponsors, they actually, I don't know about new ones, but they do have sponsors funding the marketing. I'm not sure who or how, she has not told me that, but they do have sponsors, just not potential corporate card buyers, as you can see. And then because they haven't done consumer outreach or really started selling the cards, the number of gifts sold is 0 and the value of gifts redeemed is 0. So last week's challenges, it took a while. I only got in contact with the organizer at the end of the week. But then I was able to talk with her, and that was great, and get a sense of how I can help out. And I'd say the challenges are obviously I'm not super close, not super familiar with El Cerrito, so I think getting to know the town would be really helpful. Successes, I talked with her over the phone, like I said, and we came up with a game plan for the next month. So we both kind of know what that looks like and how I can best help. So that was great. I feel like I have a good sense of what is expected of me. And ideas for next week, she asked me to start thinking, or I guess this week, she asked me to start thinking about social media campaigns and planning that, and thinking about different media types, and kind of creating a mental image of what I would think a social media campaign should look like to raise consumer awareness about the program. So that's what I'm going to be working on this week.
All right. Awesome. This is great, Brooke. Clearly a lot of room for improvement and a lot of potential. We're just starting out, so all we can go is up, right?
Yeah.
So this is great. So you've mentioned 9 merchants, but out of the 9 merchants, we didn't get any then this week in particular. It's totally fine. But remind me what you said about the sponsors. Did you say that she did have a sponsor or thinking about a sponsor?
They do. I wasn't sure kind of what context the newer potential sponsors was under, but she said she did have sponsorship for the marketing aspect of it. I can maybe pull up the email she sent me to see what she said. I'm trying to figure it out. She says she secured sponsors whose funds pay for the promotional materials.
Great. Okay, great. So there's tons of different ways to get sponsorships for the program, right? And that would definitely be a really good one. Not quite sure at this point what the marketing materials are going to look like. Maybe you talk to her about that.
Yeah, I think generally what she wanted was like Instagram posts, that kind of thing. But also what she said she'd been working on was banners to put up over town. She's setting up at the local, I think it's a farmer's market, and just giving out information. And then if you like sign up or send a card, I think it is, you get like a button or a pin, something like that. So I would assume they're paying for that. And then materials to put in storefronts that have the card so that people who shop there frequently see the program and kind of understand that it's an option they have.
Okay, great. Those are all great ideas. And this is something to keep in mind for everyone, right? When we're thinking about sponsors, we're not limited to only people who either want to fund a buy one, get one card or fund or have a corporate buyer or even buy gifts in bulk. We can also get materials sponsored. We can get, all these different things that perhaps the community card needs. And that's another good way to think about, like maybe a local art store, for example, would want to donate or would want to give us X amount of flyers. So just, keep thinking about those, keep thinking about the sort of diversity of pools of funding here and partnerships that can be created. Okay. All right. Awesome. Great, Brooke. Okay, let's move on to last week's assignments. How do you feel you are with the assignments. I'll just go over here. And yeah, so you got permission from your organizer. Did you identify any steps to complete? Were you able to go through the guide?
Yeah, I did look at that. So they have pretty much everything set up for the card. What they don't really have is, like, I noticed the how it works color wasn't set up in any capacity really. So just a few finicky little things. And then like their images, the resolution's pretty poor.
Okay, great.
Noticed. So that could be improved definitely in the setup. Yeah, and then obviously like onboarding merchants, they just don't have a lot.
And then that's the stage you're at. Okay, great. No, but continue to identify those little setup things, especially in how the card looks, because that's the first presentation of the card. So you want those to be, you know, as well as you can. Maybe you want to talk to your organizer about colors or, you know, changing something. Maybe you want to ask them if they have a higher resolution image. Maybe they don't, but if they do, then, you know, we can work on loading those things. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. All right. Who wants to go next? Ian.
I can go next. Just give me a second. I have to set up my my screen.
All right. Thank you.
So Raquel, is this our new weekly meeting time? One.
Yes, this is our new weekly meeting time. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. Well, you'll notice that it switched from last week. Last week, our meetings were both days were at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Moving forward, Monday meetings are going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and Tuesday webinars are going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And that switch just happened because the first week was a little off just because of the holiday. Yeah. But moving forward every Monday, right? Because last week we met Tuesday, Wednesday. But this week, yeah, moving forward, it's going to be Monday, Monday, Tuesday, 10 and 11.
Got it.
All right.
Cool. Okay, so my community was the Italian market, and this is a little bit of an interesting community in relation to a lot of the other groups, which is the Italian market is not a neighborhood. It is a like 3-block stretch of street in South Philadelphia, and it has a ton of really historic shops and really historic grocery stores and supply stores. And it's kind of the center of the Italian community in South Philadelphia, which is a very large neighborhood and a very large community. So it's kind of this cultural hub a little bit. So it both serves as like an outdoor market and a grocery store and like a supply area, but it's also where people meet and see old friends and catch up. So it kind of has this dual functionality to it, which is pretty interesting. The problem is that it is also not just a place you buy things, it's a place you go. So you go to the Italian market. Like being at the Italian market is just part of the activity of buying something there. The atmosphere is pretty unique. It's not an environment that's found anywhere else. So with an e-gift card, people, you don't really get that much of the functionality of that. So you're only getting like one side of the Italian market. You're not getting this like really great experience, which is like kind of the thing, but that's just like not there. You're just getting like the just like actual commercial product. So that's a challenge. So the Italian market card, it's been around since September 2019. It has having pretty low sales in this time period, nothing really recently. These challenges, there's more to all of these. I don't know why they're not just playing, but the challenges are what I'm stating. There's difficulty there. I think it's overcomable though. So what I was thinking is that if the idea is the problem is that people aren't being there, then I guess we could set up like a pickup option. So you buy something online with the Yiftee gift card, and then you could go pick up that product at the Italian market in store. So it's not being shipped to you, but you would actually go there. So you both get to redeem the card and not spend your own out-of-pocket money. And you could go to the market and actually like be there and get that social like gathering experience as well. So it solves both of those problems. I'm not sure if they do that right now. I switched communities halfway through the week, so I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
So yeah, I was in Haverford and now I'm in here. So I'm still figuring out like the nitty gritty of this, but just looking at it as an overview, that is what I saw. And I think that's the problem I saw and that's the solution I saw. The success is just establishing it, figuring out what's going on, the state of the market. And again, new to this, new area. So successes are minimal at the moment and that's okay. Then ideas for next week is I have to figure out how to kind of like merge this space. So how do you take credit that's online and make it work with a community that is kind of like has to be in person there community? Because it's not just like this is a Yiftee community. It's a community card, but the Italian market like really is its own community.
Absolutely.
So that's the challenge at hand right now. So we're going to figure that one out.
Okay. This is great. And that's a good challenge because we may run into some technical difficulties if you're thinking of overcoming it with something like online purchases. Typically, the community card is not meant to be used online. And the reason for that is because we want to encourage that in-person or over the phone experience, right? Precisely what you're talking about. Because the moment that people walk into a store with a $50 gift card, they probably end up spending 75, because it's really only 25 out of pocket. So being in person and over the phone, and really the way that our technology works in terms of security, it doesn't really support online purchases. It may in some cases, so we'd have to talk. This is a very unique case, actually. And for everyone's benefit, I'll just explain. Some of the folks that we have on this call today are part of this YCA program, but they are also Yiftee interns. So they are interning aside with Yiftee, and they've all been assigned communities, ideally communities that are close to them or as close as possible. And that's why Ian, for example, had been assigned to Haverford because he's in Pennsylvania, but now we found the Italian market, which is right in his community. It's like 5 minutes away from you, something like that?
Yeah, it's walking distance.
Okay, perfect. And it's a really unique card because, like you said, it's not a community card for the entire community of Philadelphia, but it is this specific Italian market community that has several merchants, and that needs to up their sales, and needs this program to grow. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm really loving the ideas. So that being said, with this unique case, we could talk to Donna and we could talk to our tech folks and see, if anything can be done if we're thinking about something online, or we could just brainstorm, other different things. Do you expect this to be just a pandemic problem, or do you think that more people will come as things start opening up?
I think more people will come as things start opening up. But again, like Philadelphia is going to open up pretty soon. But I mean, I'm going to be working on this for like a month and a half. So if I want to get this up and going in my time period, if I'm going to lay out a longer plan, like a strategic plan that's going to last a year, then that's fine. But I would like to see this come to fruition while I'm here, if that's possible.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. I think there's great room for that. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. Thank you, Ian. What about last week's assignments? So I know that you have access. I know that, were you able to go through the setup guide and see if they have everything set up? Did you identify any steps that they're missing?
So they look pretty good to me.
Okay.
It's set up pretty well.
Yeah.
The picture seems to be in order. The website seems to be organized pretty well.
Yeah, they've been here for a while.
So it looked pretty solid to me. Nothing stood out to me immediately.
Good. All right, great. Awesome. Thanks, Ian. All right. Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.
No problem. All right. So my community is Cupertino. Yeah, same with Ian. I got this community mid last week, so haven't had a ton of time to get in contact with the organizers there. And so this community is pretty similar to Brooks and El Cerrito. They haven't done a lot of selling cards. I think they've sold a total of 6 cards, and they've been up and running since November of last year. So yeah, no new merchants, no new sponsors, and no gifts sold, no gifts redeemed. And so yeah, so like I said, the main challenge for my community is they've been up and running for 6 months, and they've only sold 6 cards. Only one has been redeemed. So mainly just creating awareness within the community, whether that be through social media or like flyers or something like that. Just creating more awareness for members of their community about their community card program.
So
Success.
sorry, Cal. Let me just
Yeah.
stop you there. Apologies. What do you think? I know you just started with them. I know this is, the very first week that you're looking at them. But why do you think that is? At a glance, can you identify maybe why this card has been up and running for 6 months, but has only sold 6 cards? Anything that comes to mind to you?
Yeah, well, I think, like I said earlier, similar to El Cerrito, they're still working on getting or onboarding merchants. They only have 9 up and running so far. They're working on getting some more live. So I think that's their focus right now. Like I said, I haven't been able to get in contact with the organizer. So once I get talking with him, then it'll be more clear what's happening. But to me, what it seems like is that they've been focused on onboarding merchants so far, and not so much of a focus has been on creating awareness within the community about the program.
Okay, great.
And then, yeah, so for next week, like I said, getting in touch with the community organizer and creating more awareness in the community about this card.
All right. So you didn't feel you had any successes this week, huh?
Yeah, not much.
All right. That is all right. Well, the success was taking a look, getting a YCA assigned to this community, and just having fresh eyes on someone who can, come in and support. That's definitely a success. We're moving in the right direction. Again, a huge room for improvement, right? And this actually this all goes to show how important the very first step of the community card is, which is onboarding local merchants. And that is precisely the topic of our webinar this week. And that's precisely the topic of our classes for this week. Right? When we first get folks to sign up for the community card, we tell them that we think 15 merchants to start off is a nice sweet spot. But again, it takes time and effort to get this going and to get the word out and to explain to merchants what it is, the program that the fact that the community has started this program, that it costs them absolutely nothing, and that it's incredibly worth it to try, just to see. So that takes some time, and those are the skills that we're going to be working on this week precisely. So hopefully by next week, we'll see a little more movement in the communities that are specifically having challenges with that piece of it. All right. All right, Kyle, what about last week's assignments? Did you identify any things? Were you able to go onto the community card portal and play around with it a little bit? And did you identify any steps that are missing?
Yeah, I mean, their portal's pretty much all set up, and same as their website. They got everything set up. The only thing would be just getting more merchants on board. That's
Great.
it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, who's next? see.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So yeah, I think mine looks pretty similar to everybody else's. Things haven't changed very much in the last month or so. They have had, I think they have like over history, like $300 or so purchased, but I know that a lot of that is from like the chamber themselves. Like they use it, they've gotten them for themselves or like for other people.
Okay.
So there's that.
And remind us, sorry, Maisha, remind us where you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Beaver County.
All right, Beaver County.
And I'm interning for the Chamber of Commerce here, so I'm kind of like working with them with this. So like one of my biggest challenges was they're trying to like promote the local businesses, promote the program. And to do that, they were having me like have local businesses send me their like an advertisement they've made in the past or like a logo, but we haven't had a lot of responses, which I was surprised by. I thought that they'd be all about some free advertisements. So that was definitely a challenge. Also just struggling to get businesses interested in the program and like get them involved. We don't have a lot of small, but we have been very much so taken over by Walmart in the last 10 years. So there aren't a lot of small businesses around here to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as successes go, logged into Yiftee. Don't mean to brag or anything, but you know.
Great job. Great job.
Yep, that's about everything.
All right. Okay, this is great. And I really like, let's go a little bit back to the discussions about challenges for the week, because like we've mentioned before, each community is unique and has its own needs that that we're trying to meet, right? It has its own culture as well, and it has its own things, like maybe there are less small businesses than usual, so or than in other communities, not than usual, than in other communities. So you identified perhaps the fact that you don't have as many small businesses, but what specifically, what do you think is the, I guess, the hurdle? Why do you think that that merchants perhaps aren't as interested? Is it a communication problem? Is it perhaps that you need more direct one-on-one contact? What's the process now? If you know it, talk me through the process of getting a new merchant.
Sure.
Again,
so,
if you know.
I haven't like gotten a new merchant yet, but I've like called them all individually to get this ad from them.
Okay.
And they were like struggling to understand like how to email me a PDF. So I have a feeling like that they're not super tech savvy, a lot of them. And also like, I think the other Raquel mentioned this last meeting, like if you were gonna scam somebody, I totally sound like a scammer right now.
Right.
So I think that's something that like I'll have to overcome. And another part of that is that I don't quite know the product well enough to sell it well. So when I don't know what I'm completely talking about, I feel like they kind of doubt me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which hopefully by the end of this training, you'll know the product in and out, you know, and you'll be able to, like you said, sell it really well and explain to folks what it is, and feel more confident in doing that. Okay, great. So anything in terms of those two things, anything that you wanna try differently for next week? Like maybe changes in your script or changes in, you know, another email, maybe door to door, if you have that capacity. Yeah, anything that you might want to change in your approach.
Well, I'm going to have to, I believe I'm dropping off window clings at a couple of businesses anyways, and it's not a super big area. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go there. I mean, as long as I'm not actively trying to sell them something, I feel like they'll trust me a little bit more. Like some of the people didn't even quite understand the program that they were in already. So I think if I show up there and I like I sit behind them and I walk them through how to like run their activation card, which a lot of them still haven't, I think that'll help a lot. Just
Absolutely.
being there.
Yeah, yeah. That usually tends to help a lot, especially with folks who are struggling with the tech portion of it. You know, it can seem really overwhelming for some folks, and then others are able to just pick it up really quickly, right? And yeah, and that's exactly your role, is to be that liaison and help them through that. So that's a great idea. Awesome. Okay, what about last week's assignments? I know that you have access to the portal, right? And have you been able, it seems like you were able to log on and perhaps even run a report or two, but did you identify any areas that needed some changes or some updating, any of the 10 steps that you're missing?
No, it looked good from what I saw. It all looked good. They all looked squared away.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right, thank you. All right, so let's see. I think everybody has gone. Yes. So I will share my screen over here. Then I will go over here. And let's talk about next week. Okay, first, tomorrow. So as a reminder, our webinar is tomorrow, June 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And it's regarding onboarding and assisting local merchants, which is really a perfect segue for our conversation today, because it seems like, at least for the folks who are on this call, one of the biggest struggles is getting merchants on board. Okay, and we've identified, as a summary here of what I'm hearing, we've identified that some of the challenges are merchants not being aware of the program, right? And if they are aware of the program, it seems a little bit odd. Maybe it feels a little scammy. How is it possible that the community just wants to help us? It's not going to cost us anything, but we have to run this activation card, right? So a little bit, think about clear and concise ways that are professional and seem, when you hear them, they seem legit. To advertise the program and to communicate to merchants and to really just let them know, look, this is a great program that the community has started. All you need to do is run this card to be a part of it, and people are just going to come into your store and spend some money. So think about ways to communicate that directly and concisely to merchants, right? But in terms of tomorrow, we're going to go through all of these things in the webinar. The things that we're going to cover are how to introduce the community card, how to identify and track new merchants. And just as a quick preview, I'll tell you that usually what we suggest as a best practice for chambers and downtowns and Main Street associations is to look at their list, their local business directory, which is a list of local businesses, and use that as your wish list. Create your merchant spreadsheet, the merchant spreadsheet that we send to all organizers, which is their wish list. Just input all of those people in there, and then just send them activation cards. And that's kind of the first contact, right? That may be the first contact, or you may send them an initial email or submit a press release as, hey, we're part of this new program. And once the merchants know, send them out the activation cards. Some of them won't know what it is. They'll ignore them, but others will be aware. They'll have it on their radar, and they'll just start running the cards. Okay, so that's a quick preview, but Raquel will talk more about that tomorrow. Let's see, that's number 2. Number 3, we're going to talk about how to fill out and upload this merchant spreadsheet that I'm talking about in order to send out your activation cards in bulk. And then we're going to talk about how to, again, send and troubleshoot the activation cards. These two are very related, but they're slightly different. We're going to talk about how to troubleshoot redemption issues. So once a merchant is in the system and they're participating, and say someone comes in with the Yiftee, but something's going on, it's not working for some reason. We have a few reasons, technical things why these things happen. You know, usually they're very small and they can be fixed really quickly, but it's important for merchants to know. And it's important for you folks to know how to troubleshoot these issues when merchants come in and say, hey, this Yiftee card is not working for some reason, or I got a new POS system. Do I need a new activation card? Things like that, little technical details like that. So we'll be sharing some resources with you, resources that we already share with merchants, but just so you have all the background and know and can remind merchants in a system if anything comes up. Right? Last but not least, we're going to teach you how to run a location report. So you can also use activation cards and send them out in different ways. And this is actually a very useful report to you to track your merchants and brainstorm for new things. Okay. Assignments for this week. So all of the information that you should need in terms of onboarding local merchants is in pages 9 through 12 of your YCA guide. Okay. The YCA guide is the guide that I sent in the very first email with materials and the schedule. And all you have to do is read 9 through 12. In 9 through 12, you're going to find a link to the merchant kit. The merchant kit is the documents that are sent to merchants. So you're going to be able to review those and see what information the merchant gets once they become a participating merchant. And hopefully you agree that most of the information, including any issues that could come up, the technology stuff, how to set it all up, all of that is there. So you're going to have a chance to look through those things, and hopefully, Maisha, for example, that'll give you more language when you're having these conversations with merchants, and it'll give all of you more language as to how this really runs, what it is, how to do it. Okay. In those materials, you're going to find a quick 2-minute video on how to redeem. This one is in the merchant kit. Okay. Remember, the YCA guide and the merchant kit are two different things. The YCA guide is your guide for this program. Okay. And it has an overview of everything. And inside your guide, there are links to different things. There's a package that we send organizers. There's a package that we send to merchants. There's another package that's for sponsors. So you're going to find all those things in there. So the merchant kit is inside the YCA guide. Take a look at that, and you're going to find a little 2-minute video there. Okay. The third assignment for this week is to attend or watch tomorrow's webinar. Okay. And hopefully, again, Raquel's going to go in depth on all of these things, and it will hopefully be very helpful to you in this week's goal, which is number 4, to onboard at least one new merchant. Okay. So, you don't have to go crazy or try to get 20 or 100. Let's try to get 1. Let's have that be the goal for this week. Get 1 merchant, send out 1 activation card for this merchant, and make sure that they are live on the site. And then that will be our success for this week, right? And hopefully that will give you a little bit of a blueprint as to how to do it moving forward. And you can replicate that, or folks in your community can replicate that as well. And we can just kind of get the ball rolling, especially with everyone on this call who's in need of some new merchants or looking for some new merchants. Okay. And last but not least, we've got the YCA report due every Friday at 6. Those are really helpful for both you and me. So please continue to send those out. Thank you for sharing your reports with us today. All right. Any questions? Does that make sense to everyone?
I have a question. Will tomorrow webinar include like how to find a new merchant, like how to seek them out?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
will. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else? No? All right. All right. We've got 15 minutes. Let's do a little closing dynamic. Everybody take a second to share and think, what is one thing that your community currently needs? Now, this could be, let's say that you really want to see like a mountain mics in your community, and there isn't one, or hopefully something a little less commercial or corporate. Not that there's anything wrong with corporations, but maybe what's one thing that you want to? It can be silly, it can be serious, whatever you want to do. We just want to see what's one thing that you want to see in your community. It can be serious, it can be what's one thing that they need for pandemic recovery. So let's think about this. Yeah, who wants to go first?
I can go.
Okay, go for it, Ian.
My community needs organization.
Okay.
Really all over the place, and there's no central, I mean, there is like technically, but there's really no central like governing thing that pulls it together so much, at least in like a on the ground sense. So getting a little bit of cohesion there would be nice.
Okay, great. Great to know. And do you mean the marketplace or Philadelphia?
Both, but I was talking about the marketplace.
Okay.
what I was referring to.
Great. Okay. Anyone else?
I can go. So yeah, my community basically needs awareness about the community card program from both merchants and just residents in the community. They need to know that this is going on and how it's helping small businesses.
Awareness is a really good one, and that's marketing, right? That is figuring out how to communicate, which sounds very simple, but it is not. So great. Awesome, Cal. Thank you. Yeah, awareness. Who's next? I can share. I actually live in Oakland, and I think Oakland needs a community card. We don't have one here, and there are a ton of small businesses in Oakland, and incredible small businesses, and especially now that things are starting to open up. All the restaurants are starting to open up. I would love a community card to downtown Oakland. So maybe I will make it my mission to start one here. We'll see. All right. Anybody else? Sorry, I feel like I cut somebody off.
That's okay. I feel like my community needs just a lesson on computers. I feel like it would not only help them with the program, but also just with their business endeavors in general.
Nice. Yes, that is great. That is a great thing to identify. So a little bit of computer literacy. Yeah, you're actually making me think, because it's hugely important, and there is definitely a diversity of that, both amongst communities, but amongst merchants, right? We have folks of all different age ranges who have small businesses, and some folks are really adept at all of these tech things, and other folks aren't as familiar with it. And we have arrived at sort of a day and age where a lot of this moves through technology. And so, having that said, Maisha, what do you think? Do you think you could have a hand in that, or this could be, or that's just kind of a larger dream?
No, I'd love to. Like, I feel like I can't even see them changing I can't see them changing the way they do things, period. But like, especially for something that they don't quite understand. Like, I feel like it's necessary if I want to be successful to like put a little extra time into just like explaining to them what exactly I'm trying to give to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's really, really great. I think you've identified definitely one of your challenges, and you have, you're coming close to a solution to that specific challenge, which, may or may not be unique to your community, but you're definitely seeing that in your community, people need a little more guidance and literacy in tech, and definitely that's one area for you to focus on. So think about, for next week, or this week actually, think about how to do that. Think about clear and concise ways to explain this product to people and to go. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun when you go door to door with people and start engaging with these communities. I'm really excited for your report, and I'm excited to see how that goes this week, because people are fun. Well, at least I think talking to business owners is fun. So yeah, so hopefully that's going to be an awesome experience. You'll have a range of experiences in that. All right, I think we're missing one more person, right, Brooke?
Yes, that is me.
Yeah.
Not the community specifically, but I think the organizer needs a better pitch for the cards, because I was reading one of the merchants sent back an email and said, like, we have some reservations, such as they have an EMV reader, which requires manual entry, and then like the card doesn't allow tips. The organization didn't really have anything to kind of combat those fears. So I think pitching the card better and kind of saying like, yes, there are drawbacks, but look at all the benefits is important.
Absolutely. And, we'll go more into this tomorrow, actually, the reason why tips aren't encouraged, and the reasons, and that difference between manual entry and having a physical card there. Did you say that their system, it's a POS system, but it requires everything to be entered manually, or they're concerned that our card needs to be entered manually?
I think it was the Yiftee card specifically, because they said, we're interested in the card, but we have EMV readers and see that means manual entry, and that it's just too slow and could like cause clogs in the system.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I hear you. And it's a valid and real concern, especially for businesses who are small cafes, right? Who get the morning rush. Say say 5 people coming with a Yiftee, and the cashier needs to, manually key in all of those Yiftee cards. That's definitely going to cause a bit of a slowdown. So, we can talk about different ways to address those concerns. I'm definitely going to make a note for Raquel to talk about those things tomorrow. But also, on your end, this is an opportunity to think about creative answers and creative solutions to those kinds of real life, practical concerns when you're trying to do this card. So, okay, great. Anybody, anything else? Any questions, last closing statements, anything? I'll stop sharing my screen here. No? All right. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thank you again all for being here. Thank you for your thoughts, and thank you for sharing. And I hope that you have all a really great week. I will hopefully see you tomorrow at the webinar. And then if you have any questions, any concerns, any help this week with onboarding your merchants, again, let me know. Always email me at ambassadors@yiftee.com, and stay in communication with me, okay, as things come up. So yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.